guys, my name is Rachel Brantley, and I am a kindergarten teacher here in Knox County. I hope you are all staying safe and enjoying this beautiful weather outside and being healthy at home. Today, we are going to talk about geography and what that is in kindergarten. So first, we're going to talk about globes. We're going to talk about what a globe is, and then we're going to talk about what maps are and what your address is. So let's start at the beginning. What is geography? Geography is the study of the Earth's surface. So the Earth is the world that we live on, and the surface of the Earth is the ground. So we look at what the Earth looks like all over the world. People who study this are called geographers. So geographers use tools just like we use in school. Their tools are a little different though. Their tools are maps and globes. So they have to have those in order to study the Earth's surface. So what is a globe? A globe is a model of the Earth, but much smaller. So a globe can show those geographers different things. They can show water, which is normally blue, as we can see in these pictures of globes, blue for the water. And then they can also show land. So land is normally green or brown. A globe is a sphere, which is a 3D shape that we learned in math. So it's a sphere, so we know it's round, and it spins just like the Earth does. So the Earth is constantly moving. Even when you're standing still and not moving, the Earth is still moving. It's spinning in a circle. So a globe can also spin. A globe is used when we want to find different countries on Earth. So if we blow these pictures up and make them really big so we can look at them better, we can see that this blue is a lot of water. So the Earth has a ton of water on its surface. But we can also see different countries. So up here we can see this is North America, the continent we live on, but here is the country of the United States. And we can see that in the United States, there's a little bit of green here and there's a lot of brown. And that green tells me that there's a lot of rain. And then the brown tells me there's not as much rain. We can also use a globe to show us those different countries and just where the different countries are. So this globe shows me that this green area is the United States of America, where we live. And then I can also see the countries above, which is Canada, and the country below, which is Mexico. Globes are super helpful if I'm trying to see where different countries are in the world. So I know that on North America, we have 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. But then over in Europe, there's the other countries such as Italy or Spain or France, and we can see how far apart they are on the world. So globes are super helpful to look around the world and to see what the world looks like in a 3D shape. However, we can also use maps to look at the world. A map is a flat picture or a 2D shape that shows us where things are located. So a map is flat. We can lay it down, we can look at it, we can move it around. Maps can show us pretty much anything we want to see. We can look at maps of the world. So we can take that globe and lay it out flat and we can see a map of the world. We can see a map of our country, the United States. We can look at maps of Tennessee. We can look at maps of your neighborhood. You can even look at maps of Knoxville or cool places you go, like Disney World or Dollywood. You can find maps of those places. So I have a video for us to watch about the different types of maps.
Did you know that there are many different types of maps? Some are really big and show things like the planet Jupiter, while others are small enough to only show a single city block. We can learn all sorts of things from maps. Some maps are topographical, which means they show us what areas of the world are like, how tall the mountains are, where there are rivers, and more. Other maps are political and show where the borders of different nations and cities are. There are also maps that lead you from place to place by showing you where the roads lead. The right map will open the world for you. You might be wondering what's different from a map and a photograph. A map must be drawn by someone called a cartographer. They decide what type of map it's going to be, where it's going to show, and how it looks. It's a really important job to have, and cartography has been around for thousands of years. How many different types of maps have you seen?
So there are all kinds of maps showing all kinds of different things. But a map is a picture of what you are looking at. However, it's not like a photograph because maps have to be made by people called cartographers, and they show you where places are in that specific area. So we know what a map is. It shows us where things are located, but what is on a map? So maps can show us roads, they could show us buildings, rivers, mountains, important places, or landmarks. But what is on each specific map depends on what it is of. So maps of the United States can show states, which we can see on this map right here. There are states, and each state has a different color to show us where they begin and where they end. And so Tennessee, our state, is this blue state right here. They could also show us major interstates, which are the roads that people travel to get from one place to another, major cities like Nashville, Tennessee, or Knoxville, Tennessee. Maps of the United States can also show us the different types of land in the United States. So we live in Knoxville, which is really close to the Smoky Mountains, part of the Appalachian Mountains. So right here, it's more brown because those are mountains that go higher, that go up. And so they are brown, and they're just a little brown here. However, if you go out west, that's where the Rocky Mountains are, and those are really tall mountains. So those are super dark brown, as we can see here. We also see that there's a lot of green, which means that there's a lot of rain that happens here, as we've seen in Tennessee recently, lots and lots of rain. We can also see that there's blue water on both of these maps right next to the United States, and that's the oceans. So the blue shows us the water, and then on this map we see states, on this map we see different types of land. We can also see that there's other countries surrounding our country. So above us is Canada, and below us is Mexico. On a map of Tennessee, we can find things just in Tennessee. So on this top map of Tennessee, we see a bunch of cities. So Nashville, which is our state capital. We can find Knoxville, where we live. We can find Memphis over here in this corner. We can find Chattanooga down here. And we see a lot of red lines connecting all of these cities together. Those red lines are the major roads or the interstates that connect one place to another that you drive on. We also see some blue patches, blue lines throughout this map too. And those lines show us the rivers in Tennessee. So just like in Knoxville, we have the Tennessee River that flows through Knoxville. We can see that it comes all the way down and goes all the way down below Tennessee and then comes back up over here. On this bottom map of Tennessee, we can see that land again, but just specifically Tennessee. On the United States map, we found the Appalachian Mountains, which are also right here on the very edge of Tennessee. And then also there's another light spot, which is the Cumberland Plateau, which it's kind of at Crossville, where we go from Knoxville to Nashville, you go up the Cumberland Plateau. So you can see the different land in Tennessee also. So a map helps me see all these different places just within Tennessee. We can also see a map of Knoxville, and a map of Knoxville can show us different parts of Knoxville, Knox County, like Powell, Karnes, South Knoxville, Farragut, or Gibbs. They can also show you important places like the Sun Sphere or the mall. You may be able to find your school or maybe even your home or your house on a map of Knoxville. So I have just a few examples of some Knoxville maps. This map of Knoxville shows us the greater Knoxville area. So we have those interstates, but on this map, they're blue. So they don't always have to be the same color. But on this map, we see the interstates are blue and the major roads throughout Knoxville are red. We can see that this is mostly of downtown Knoxville, but up here I have Powell and then South Knoxville down here. This one is just a map of the University of Tennessee and then downtown Knoxville. So we see all the buildings in the University of Tennessee. And then this map shows us a lot of just the major roads in Knoxville, but I can also see those blue lines that show us the different lakes and the different rivers throughout Knoxville. Maps are super helpful. They can help us find places. So you can ask your parents or your guardians or whoever you live with if they ever use maps to find places. They may use a map on their phone. So I use my phone a lot to help me get from one place to another. And it's called a GPS. And I can pull up a map on my phone to help me find places. So it'll tell me also how long it takes to get from one place to another. It takes me 2.5 hours to get from Knoxville to Nashville, and it'll tell me the roads to use, when to turn, and all of those fun things. So they can help us find where to go. Maps can also find out how long it takes to get from one of those places to another. These two maps are maps of neighborhoods. So if you are at home, you may want to see how to get from your house to the closest park. So on this map, if I lived over here and I wanted to get to the park, I would have to go down onto this street and walk to the right, and then I would be able to get to the park. On this map, I may be up here and want to go to the diner down here, but have to find how to get there. And so I can use the map and the names of the streets to tell me where to turn and where to go in order to get to the place I would like to go. So maps can help us get places. And I bet you use maps more than you even know that you do. So what is your task for the week? What are you going to do at home? So your task is to draw and label a map of your neighborhood or your home and include important places on your map. So this map, your paper you're going to get is going to say map of home or neighborhood and then be a big empty square. And you have to decide, do you want to draw a neighborhood map or a home map? If you choose to draw a map of your neighborhood, I want you to think about some things to include. So in your neighborhood, you have your house, you have your street you live on, maybe a friend's house. You might have a park in your neighborhood that you like to go, or a cool area that you like to go in your neighborhood. You may have more than one friend's house you want to include in your neighborhood, but you're going to draw a map of your neighborhood. If you choose to do a home map, you may want to include your favorite room in your home, your favorite part outside of your home, so right outside of your house, where you play in your house, or where you eat in your house. All these places that are important to you in your map. When you do, make sure that you also label the important places so that people know this is my house, this is my street, this is my friend's house, or this is where I eat, this is where I play, this is my favorite room in my house, so that people can find places and it can help them get places in your map also. And then on the back of your map, you're going to write your address. Well, what is an address? An address is what people use when they mail you things. So it is the number and street name of your house. So every single person has an address, and it helps people send you mail, or you send mail to other people. So there's some important things that you have to include in your address. You need to include your home number. So every home has a number, whether it's the number 1 or could be in the thousands, could be a really big number, but you have to include your home number. And then your street name. So your home number and then your street name are the two big things. And then if you have an apartment or unit number, also include those. You may have to ask your parent, guardian, whoever you live with, to help you with those, finding out what those are for your street, your home. And then the second line, so we've done our number, our street name, and then our unit number, apartment number, and then our city. So what city do you live in? I live in Knoxville, so I would write Knoxville. And then the state. We all live in the state of Tennessee, so we write Tennessee there too. So once we've written our address, we need to try to remember our address, because it's super helpful if we need to find our home or if we need to tell a trusted adult our address. Your last part of your task is to draw a picture of your house. What does your house look like on the outside? Just like on a map, we can find places. We need to know what our home looks like in order to find our home if we are on our street. So that is your task. Pick a map, a neighborhood map or a home map, and draw your map and label it. Make sure that you include those labels. They're super important. And then write your address and draw a picture of your home. Now I have a few resources that may be helpful for you as you're trying to remember what maps are and reading maps and why they're important. So the first one is a Brain Pop video with Annie and Moby. which is free to everyone right now. You can just get on and watch these videos. And this is about reading maps and the importance of being able to read maps. The second resource I have for you is Social Studies Weekly, which is our social studies curriculum in kindergarten. And this is for Unit 2 or Week 2, Maps and Globes. You will have to sign on in order to be able to access these. However, you can create an account for free right now. We are in Kindergarten Social Studies Weekly, The World. It says Rat Cage Makeover. That's how I remember it every week, every time I use it. And then when you get on there, you'll go to Week 2, Maps and Globes, which is what we're talking about right now. And it has all of these videos, all of the articles, and everything you'll need to access what we just used. So that video we just watched is on here as well. You can have it read to you.
A map is a picture.
And then you can also collect Rev coins and do fun things with those. But it'll have the entire article on here for you. The other resource is an address. So what's your address? It's week 3. What's your address, which talks through what is the importance of learning your address, what your city is, all of those things. And the last resource I have for you is a book called Me on the Map. And it helps you see maps of your bedroom. And then it can also have maps of your house, your neighborhood, your town, your state, your world. It goes from really small to really big and then back to really small. And it's a great book. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope you all have a great day. I will see you soon.